in their regular hours, but it didn't cost us anything. And if you rent it afterwards, that costs you to rent this place and have travel. But my name is Richard Floyd. I represent District 27, which has this Lookout Valley, Lookout Mountains area in my district, and I serve in the state legislature. Let me thank all of you for coming. I've met many of you. We welcome everybody here. We hope to answer some of your questions tonight. I do have a few people I'd like to introduce before we get started. We have Mr. John Mayer. John is with TWRA. Kurt Miles. Kurt is with TWRA. We have Mr. Dick Urban and Jim Finney, who are with the EPA, Water Pollution Control. And then we have our City Councilman, Deborah Scott, one of my favorite ladies back here. This is in Deborah's district. This area is, I think we're talking about getting next to the city. Joe Graham, our county commissioner, is supposed to be here. I've asked that we have a question, and this is for both my understanding. I won't be able to remember everything that's asked here this evening. And so if you have a question that you would like to have asked, or ask yourself, if you'll write down those 3 to 5 cards we have back there, put your name and a contact number. If we don't get it answered tonight, well then I'll have a way to get back to you with an answer. And but what we'd like to do is we'd like to kind of have our meeting tonight, just like we do about running a committee. If you have a question, we're going to have a microphone on both sides of the stage, and auditorium. And so if you'll raise your hand, you'll be recognized, and they'll bring the microphone to you so we can hear your question, you can hear the answer. And then if you feel it necessary to have a sidebar conversation, please keep it to a minimum, because we want to make sure that you don't disturb your neighbors and everybody can hear the questions and the answers that are given. Joe Graham, we're good to have you. He's our county commissioner. But before we get started, I want us all to stand. Joe, Manning, I want you to lead us in prayer, and then we'll have the pledge to the flag. How about praying first? Yeah.
Gracious Father in heaven, we thank you for this day that you give us. Father, we ask you to continue to be with all the people in this valley as we work toward the progress to do for the community. Lord, we ask you just give us all the strength we need to get through this day and tomorrow. Go with us all and bless us in the way you have to be. We pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think you may be seated. I would like to thank Miss Christy Perkins. Christy, where did you go? There she is. And if you've got a question you don't want to ask, if you'll get that right down and get it to Christy, she'll be pleased to ask it for you. I learned all I need to know. Don't need to know, but all I know about what we're here to discuss this evening, coming home from Nashville this time last week. And so, been doing a little research this week, and we have some folks here tonight to try to answer your questions. I can tell you what I know already is the fact I talked to Mr. Ed Carter, who is the director of TWRA. And there are no, I think some of the rooms was if this was shut down, or you guys know more about it than I do. He told me right there they're not writing any tickets, it's not shut down. And so we want to make sure that the facts that you get this evening on what the plans are in the future, and when meetings are going to be held in the future. And that's the reason I've asked John to come this evening. And so, John, if you'll come, we'll start taking questions. If you have a question, try not to duplicate a question. In other words, if your friends ask the same question you got on your mind, just please don't ask the same question. So we'll have a chance to get more people's questions asked and answered. So, John, if you'll come. Christy, I guess, would you have any other remarks you'd like to make?
I'm just ready to get started asking questions.
Who wants to be first? Yes, sir. And if when you stand, who's got the microphones? Joe, I can take this one, yeah. Mr. Joe,
your name? And,
I'm Steve Perlacki. I'm one of the landowners on the mountain. Just a brief background. Once the development in Cummings Cove started, they destroyed our access to the mountain, which was a deeded access. And my question to Mr. Meyer, your property has deeded access through there's book 3960, page 518, the Murphy easement. Why did TWRA not do anything to stop the developers from destroying the same easement? And I question that because as part of the Forest Legacy program, which purchased the land that TWRA is, I'm understanding that those that you can't change anything. Once it's bought with Forest Legacy, it has to stay with Forest Legacy, and the easement is bought pertinent to the land that it comes with. So that was TWRA property just as much as it was anybody else's property. Why did TWRA not interfere with the developers destroying that access?
Wow. Okay, Steve, I talked to you yesterday for a long time, and we went over a lot of things. I don't know if I could really answer that question. They're not working?
Get closer. Okay.
I don't know if I could really answer that question. We have a real estate division and legal division, and that kind of stuff went through them. I'm basically the lands manager kind of guy that works with the bulldozers and the law enforcement and that kind of stuff. So I hate for the first question to be pawned off, but I don't know if I can answer that question, why we weren't more involved. We have been in talks with Black Creek, and yeah, they talk about building a road up the side of the mountain and how that would make easement easier of some sort, into our property. But that's about that. But I like I said yesterday, probably those kind of questions really should go to our real estate division or even our lawyer, our legal department. But I hate the first question.
Can I ask a second question? And this is, again, I'm trying to find, I tried calling that attorney with TWRA that you had mentioned and have not had a return call. But again, the access agreement, which brought a copy for you, Mr. Floyd, details Etna Mountain Road. I've got an affidavit from Doug Stein asserting that Etna Mountain Road is a public road, and TWRA, Etna Mountain Road nips the TWRA property as it comes to mind. And in this access agreement signed by the state, Etna Mountain Road has to enter my property where it currently is. And the reason I fought so hard for that is that in order for to get a building permit, you have to abut public road. That's the only place the public road abuts my property is Etna Mountain Road, and I want to continue to have access to my property through Etna Mountain Road.
Understandable.
And
if
I need to know the state's intent on that.
Okay. And I have no reason to doubt you. You have all the legal papers. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a real estate guy. So and I have no reason to doubt you, but if that is a legal public highway, yes, people can be on that road. However, on our property, where Etna Mountain Road, like you said, goes through and it comes off our property, when I say ours, it's state of Tennessee, TWRA, it comes off, it comes
That's not what you told me. You told me that nobody was allowed on that property. If you was walking,
Please stand and state your name.
Christy Perkins, the WeRock off-road club. You told me nobody was allowed on that property. And that anybody could be ticketed to being on that property, even if they were walking. And my question tonight is, why now, in 2012, have you decided to close that property to off-road vehicles? Since you've had it since about 2003. And I want to know what TDEC told you about erosion and siltation.
Okay. If I told you that, I'm sorry. It is not true. It is a wildlife management area. We have wildlife management areas all over the state, right? People can go out on our management areas. But the issue here is OHV use, motorized vehicles.
Why now?
Okay, you're right. We received the property from Forest Legacy Program in 2003. It was proclaimed with general wildlife management rules, which are general rules across the state of Tennessee, in 2006. We have done some LE work, not much. I grant it. It's not been a very good access to get up there. It wasn't really safe for folks to be up there going up the side of the road, the mountain, with ATVs. We've had 3 officers wrecked up there, 1 injured pretty bad. So it's not really a safe, in my view, a safe place to be. There's a lot of potholes, rocks, exposed stuff, that kind of thing. Why now? There was, within this past year, I don't know the exact date, there was a rain event, a weather event that caused excessive silt to come off the mountain and go down into the Tennessee River. And it's there now. You can see these little deltas in the Tennessee River where the drainages come off the mountain and go into the river. You can see that now. But anyway, this main event went across the state highway, closed the first time being, took out the guardrail, and went into the river. At that point, TDEC contacted us and said, you are a major landholder up there, as well as everybody else that surrounds us, and this situation needs to be fixed. So that's what brought us all about. So since then, we've been talking with our legal department, with our environmental biologists, and trying to figure out what we can do to fix this environmental problem up there. And so the very first thing, we go back to the general WMA law and try to curtail some of that environmental damage, and that's partly coming from the OHVs up there.
Would you consider the off-road community, with equipment that we all own, silt fences, would you consider us helping you in that matter? And also, is any of your property on the river side, or is it on the opposite side of the mountain? Because in my knowledge, I believe that side of the mountain is the Tennessee River Gorge property.
There is, I don't know which side we are on or what, but there is Tennessee River Gorge property over there. I think there's still Forest Legacy property over there, but I'm not sure. And there's Mr. Blackie's property, so there's other landowners around us.
Okay. Did the Forest Legacy program not purchase 1,200 acres that you are overseeing?
Yes.
Is that the only property that the Forest Legacy program has purchased on it?
I don't know.
Okay. Back in 2003, in the Chattanooga.com, it stated that you would oversee 2,400 acres and not 1,200 acres. Where is the other 1,200 acres?
I know, I'm reading the same newspaper article you probably heard. It was, I can't
I
remember.
believe you was there. Was you not there?
It was a prior manager to me.
I know Jim Brown was there from the Tennessee River Gorge. Is Jim in here? There you are. acres that would be overseen by the TWRA?
I'm not sure I remember exactly which meeting that was. There was a lot of them. I think where the confusion comes is that, and this goes way back, I was with a colleague from Trust of Public Land. And,
State your name.
yeah, I'm Jim Brown, Director of Tennessee River Gorge Trust. And the way all this started was when North American Royalties went bankrupt when they were going to sell off their property that they owned on the mountain. We became interested. And a colleague of mine who worked for another agency said, gee, it'd be nice if we could get that land and put it under some kind of protection. So we went to Nashville and we were up there looking at things that could be done. And while we were on the way back, we got a phone call from a gentleman who was working with Black Creek. And he said, we're going to get that, but don't worry, we're going to donate land. And so I think where the confusion comes in is they donated 1,200 acres to TWRA. But as part of the agreement, over time, they were to donate additional land. And I don't know if those donations have taken place, but that's where the confusion comes in. And it may be, and I think that it was originally 2,400 acres, something like that. They were donated half up front, and then more would be donated over time. So that's where your confusion comes in. The 1,200 you have now was the initial donation, and that's where that's what we're talking about here now. Did that answer the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's the understanding I have from the newspaper article.
Jeff Perlacky, I'm a property owner on Etna Mountain as well. I have a letter from Bobby Davenport, who's the director of the Trust for Public Land, the Chattanooga office director. In his letter, he said, additionally, Etna Investments LLC, which is now Black Creek Farms, led by Doug Stein, said, will donate on or before January 31st, 2010, an additional 1,200 acres, creating a 2,400-acre conservation landscape in addition to the many donated and purchased adjacent parcels of Tennessee River Gorge Trust and TWRA. So we're over 2 years past due on that land. Where is it? You're concerned about erosion. To me, that's 1,200 acres. It's just eroded away from you. I'd be concerned if it was me.
Well, I can't speak for somebody else. I don't know when they're going to donate land to it. I just don't know.
Well, if you're in charge of it now, I'd be going after my land. I'm sure you're concerned.
I am concerned, but it's not really our land. It was something that they, and I'm just reading, probably, I haven't had a chance to read this, but from the newspaper article from back then, I don't think it was definite. I think it was just sometime in the future they planned to do this.
According to Bobby Davenport's letter, January 31st, 2010.
I really can't answer the question because if they want to donate it, they don't.
They were paid enough for that land. I think they should donate it. We were offered that land for $250 an acre. The state paid $1,000 per acre, arranged by Zach Waller, who interestingly lives in the subdivision. You think that'd be a conflict of interest for one?
Yeah.
I'd be wondering, what did he receive in return for that?
That's a question for him.
I think
Where's he at?
investigation, but certainly, I would be wanting my 1,200 acres before I worried about a little bit of soil erosion, because TVA sprays underneath the power lines up there on the Tennessee River Gorge side of it. You can stop off-road traffic, but we're still going to be left with the problem of dead vegetation, so we have no soil. We're still going to have the siltation problem. At least the off-roaders, by riding the road, help maintain fire breaks, which we have had fires up there. And it's excellent having those fire breaks because TVA causes the problem. Nobody's pointing a finger at TVA, it's just us, the off-roaders. So I think it needs to be...
I can see they agree with you.
My name's Joe Blevins. ribbons are up on top of the mountain now. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's where they're fixing to bulldoze a new city up there, build houses on the bluff and everything. And it's right here in these articles. I've got all this printed out, where none of that was, no houses were going to be built on those bluffs. But you go to the Black Creek Facebook page, get them while they're here. We've already sold some. It's hot. All this kind of thing. Okay, and I run into Officer Joe Bush and Dan Hicks. We talked for about an hour. And I say, I said, well, what about this erosion thing? Well, first to start off, he said he didn't say anything about erosion. I said, he said, TWRA did. I said, oh yeah, you did. He said, no, it didn't. He said, and I said, oh yeah. He said, who was it? I said, Mr. Dan Hicks. About that time I saw, I said, Hicks across his shirt. I thought, oh wow. Yeah. So we started talking about that. He said he didn't say that. I said, and I asked him to explain what he said, now they had something happen over at the Peanut Butter Hole. I'm sure you're familiar with that. And I asked him to explain then, if TWRA is taking action, going to clamp down, that's not even including the Peanut Butter Hole. That's not the issue then. And I looked around, I saw all these pink ribbons for this new city on top of the mountain, the only unspoiled mountaintop left facing Chattanooga. I said, this right here is the reason we're being clamped down on. And that is the reason in my mind and in my heart. I know it's happening.
Nowhere near there. I mean, you can walk up through there and you're not going to get to the Creek Hole and see where that's came down. So if it's TWRA or Black Creek property, but yet it states that it's Tennessee River Gorge, then how can that be the same thing, the reason why they're trying to close it? And why didn't they do something back in '81?
I wasn't even hired in '81, so I don't know. But I want to reiterate why this is kind of happening now. And I don't, and you know, we don't plan on anything fast. This is why we come to this meeting. This is why we're talking. But there was that main event, and it did bring the attention to TDEC, and TDEC notified us that we need to do something. We need to work on the erosion problem, since we are 1,200 acres up there, since we are the landowners up there, state of Tennessee. And that's what started the talking, that's what trying to meet and trying to discuss how to correct this problem. That's where it started.
The mudslides that happen on Super Mountain and stuff like that, are they going to try to close the property down up there and do the mudslides?
We're just on 1,200 acres. I don't know about anybody else.
I'm Ronnie Nunley, and I read the article and I called the TWRA regional offices, and they said that they weren't just taking a break on it to let the vegetation grow back and take hold of the ground. Do you know how many houses they're going to build up there?
No, sir.
773. How much land do you think they're going to have to clear? How many trees are going to be took out? How many roots are not going to be there to hold the ground? How's that fixing erosion?
I don't know.
Well, why aren't y'all on them?
That's not our property. Now, TDEC might have something to say about that, but not the TWRA.
Well, basically what y'all said is TDEC was pressuring y'all into shutting down, and they never issued a warrant of shutdown. They never issued violation orders or nothing, and y'all were basically saying that they're pushing y'all into shutting down. Is there any truth?
Sorry.
they're asking us to try to do something to control the erosion that is on our property.
Your news release said, though, that they were pressuring y'all to shut down because of the erosion issues. What's the difference between mud and water running in there, and then the herbicides that the TVA is using to keep their power lines clean running in the river?
In my view, there's not much difference between silt and herbicide use. It's both an environmental problem that needs to be worked on.
So what's the mud and the water doing, making it where the fish can't see?
I missed your first part.
I said, so what is mud in the water doing, making it where fish can't see? I mean, is that y'all's argument? I mean,
The argument is soil going into the waterway, and that is not a good thing, especially when it's so much.
so what happens when it floods? Does soil not go in the water from other lands where lands have been flooded?
If there's exposed land, it would, yes, sir.
Well, what's the difference?
No different, but we're asked to control what's happening on our property.
Yeah, you're asking to control, but you're shutting it down. That's not controlling, that's just completely shutting it down. If y'all were controlling it, y'all would work out a solution to it instead of just shutting it completely down.
My name is Ron Dixon. I'm older than most people in here, so I've seen in my lifetime it's hard to change the government's mind once people's powers got to them. So my question is, if we can't convince anybody otherwise to close that down, what's going to be the consequences when one of the officers catches me and my boy riding up there?
What's the consequences of?
Well, it's going to be a $50 ticket, or you going to take my UTV?
Well, we are the regulatory agency. Right. What is adjudicated at the end of the day is actually the court system. But, and I don't know for sure, it's a misdemeanor. It would be a fine plus court costs.
About
The fine is minimal, small. The court cost is dictated by each county, and that goes to the court system, not the TWRA or the state of Tennessee.
To follow up, then, if I just pay the fine, I don't have to pay court costs, so if I'm willing to pay TWRA, I can still ride, right?
No, you'll have to go, if a citation is written, it will go to court. You state your case, we state our case, the judge will decide, and if found guilty, then it would be a fine and the court costs, not one or the other.
We'll see you up there.
Hello, Corey Satterfield, member of WeRock. A couple of the other questions weren't answered, but I still didn't hear about if we participated in helping with the erosion, as far as correcting it.
Well, we would accept any kind of help, but in order for it to, I guess, work, that you have to have a road system or trail system up there, and you have to stay on those trails, because then you maintain those roads and those trails. All right? On every one of our, or just about every one of our WMAs, we have that system in place now. At the end of the day, whenever that day is, a year now, 2 years from now, I don't know when that day will be, but at the end of the day, my vision is that Etna Mountain Road is a viable road, is paved, gravel, whatever, it's a viable road, and from that road, the agency will design and develop a road system up there. All right? Now, that's not very challenging rides. If you've been on our WMAs, those aren't very challenging rides. But it's basically that reason, so to prevent any erosion or degradation of our property. You stay on the trails, everything
been on our WMAs, those are not generally challenging rides. And that's my vision of the future. It is. How long it takes us to get there.
How far ahead is that?
Excuse me?
How far ahead is that that you foresee?
It's a lot of money, it's a lot of time. You know the power lines, there's a lot of trouble on the power lines. There's a lot of trails all in amongst, underneath the trees, you know, down there. So it'll take time. I have no idea.
Several of them trails we've made up behind y'all with bull, after y'all made a fire break with bulldozers up, and actually it's helped y'all maintain it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I was talking to Christy, talked about the litter pickup and stuff. And it's true. There is very little litter up there. There's a burnt out vehicle, stolen vehicle up there right now, but generally it is litter free. Our signs are in place. That's great. You know,
Well, what's the problem then?
The erosion problem is what I'm trying to help fix. But generally, it looks fine, except for all the degradation that's going up there.
My name is David Leachty. I've been riding up there since I was a kid, and this is a very small percentage of people that probably ride up there. Now, I don't speak for everybody, but some of the answers to me seem kind of vague. Is it open to ride up there? What's y'all's? What's not y'all's? Can we ride, not ride? And that's one thing I was wanting to know. I mean, if I go up there this weekend, what's the consequences?
I appreciate the question. What's ours? Okay. We have, in the past couple of weeks, been taking some effort to mark our boundaries, put some signs up. I think you've seen them. Yeah. And in the major, we haven't been able to do the whole circuit, but in the major ingresses and egresses from our property, we've tried to identify those areas and put up our signs. Okay. So that's TWRA, State of Tennessee property. Okay. What's legal now, and I have to waffle a little bit because of the Etna Mountain Road that comes along.
On the Black Creek side?
It comes from Black Creek, but then it comes on us at a point, and it goes along the northern boundary, and it kind of goes on. If that is a legal public road, then you are legal to be on that road. Be off it while it's inside our property. If you're off that road, it's against our WMA laws, and you would be trespassing on TWRA.
As of when?
Since 2006, when we proclaimed it.
Dwayne Ware. How many tickets have been issued on your property since it was
I can't answer that, but probably few. Because it's difficult to work in a law enforcement aspect. It's our plan, you know, after meetings, we have meetings with Forest Legacy, we're gonna have meetings hopefully sometime in March with landowners and see if there's any common ground. We're gonna be meeting and talking over the next several months, all right? And in that time, we're gonna have law enforcement officers up there, and they won't be writing any tickets. They'll be talking to folks. They'll be telling them what the law is, what isn't, and enjoy the day. But if you come back up, it is trespassing. It is against the law, and we're just trying to educate everybody of what the law is.
Do you foresee having to write a lot more tickets within the next year than you ever have in the past?
Well, it just depends on reaction, of course. We plan for several months just to go up there and verbally tell folks what's going on our property. I'm not talking about anybody else, on that 1200. What's going on. And if it continues to be a problem, then a written warning will be issued. And there's no fine, there's no nothing on that, but it gives us a name of a person. So if we know in the future, if we stop the same person in the future,
it's a very highly used easement. It's something that people use every day. Do you foresee in the future them developing it into a road, and a road that you guys can control and allow us to still travel on and stay on that road? Or do you foresee closing our access to the mountain?
If it's a legal access, and we work with the folks that have the easement, and that easement is in a place where it's controllable pollution-wise, yeah, we can, if it's agreeable to all parties, we can help maintain that road or put gravel down or whatever, and it would become a designated road.
Thank you.
A legal easement is a legal easement. We can't get around it like anybody else.
My name is Charles, not maybe short and sweet. Just how hard is Black Creek pushing y'all to get that closed?
They're not pushing us to do that. I've been talking with them for the express reason of trying to get that Edna Mountain Road developed in a way that is a safe ingress into our property. That's been our conversation. What they do on their property, I don't have no say. But my part, being a lands manager, is to try to get a viable, safe road up to our property so folks can enjoy that piece of property in a safe and legal way. And then at the end of the day, like I said, I want to see that trail system on there, just like any other WMA in the state of Tennessee.
My name is Keith Hammer. I'm just kind of curious, as long as I've been willing and been around Tennessee, TWRA always has a truck and a winch, okay? I've seen them on four-wheelers. But now all of a sudden you want to build this road up to get to your property, okay? I don't buy that. These people don't buy that. I mean, truth is truth. You've got a truck that state bought for you. You've got fours that state has bought for y'all. You don't need any of that. You're the man in charge in the woods. We respect you in a great way. So please don't, just tell the truth, okay?
Thank you. I am telling the truth.
Let me tell you, John only works for the TWRA. He doesn't vote on the laws, and he doesn't make the rules. He works for the people that do. And so he won't be making the decisions as to where something's built. That now it will come from TWRA and it'll come from the state. So, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and please don't shoot the messenger here. But that's, we've got, we have one place that we put past a tourist adventure, some years ago, and I was just remembering this bill, where they built an off-road, I'm thinking it accommodates the great big off-road vehicles that you have, so maybe, but the Royal Blue. There's talk, and we hope they will be able to get money, because people hear your voices across the state, not only here, but there's groups like you across the state of Tennessee. And, John is,
They don't get what money? What money are you talking about?
we're hoping to get credit for it. But John is here representing the TWRA, and he came at my request, because he was somebody here tonight, so please, he's asking to tell the truth. That implicates what he's saying is a lie, and I prefer that we didn't address it like that, because he can only state what he knows and what he works for, and that's the TWRA.
I apologize.
Thank you, sir.
I was thanking you for the respect comment. I appreciate that.
That's politics. That's politics. We're trying to watch out for our well-being. You're trying to watch out for yours. We're just trying to make sure what side of it you're on.
I understand. I really do.
Okay, I heard like 3 questions. I'm going to try to remember the answer.
know, we'd like to have a little bit of something to go with here too.
Well, I agree, and hopefully, at the end of the day, there'll be a trail road system up there. At the end of the day. Well, wait a second. We all have winches and four-wheel drive trucks and ATVs. That's true. But not everybody does. And on our WMAs, we provide this for two-wheelers as well as heavy-duty four-wheelers off-road vehicles. So we should provide for everybody to get to those roads. As of right now, I don't think you can get a two-wheel drive vehicle up there to the top of the mountain.
I got a one-mile.
Well, I heard that from a landowner, so I'm just repeating that part.
I
may be wrong.
drive one of the birds,
Okay.
two-wheel drive. My name's Stacy Sappington.
I stand corrected.
My question is this: do you realize how much you're going to affect the economy in this part of the country if you close this?
Well, in my mind, I'm not closing it. In my mind is we're going to design and provide a road system up there to be used. In my mind. Now it may need to be curtailed a lot until we get that road system in there. But that, in my mind, at the end of the day, that's where I hope you get it. Somebody up in here asked about who's the decision makers. All right? The way the agency works is we are governed by a 13-member commission. That 13-member commission is appointed by the governor of the state of Tennessee. They are on the commission for 6 years. So it's possible that they call it the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Commission. It's possible that a commissioner will span a governor. So one governor may appoint them in 6 years, they're sitting there under another governor. Those commissioners are appointed by the governor. If we have a recommendation, if we have a law we want to enact, if we want to do anything, as a matter of fact, I was at the commission meeting just this afternoon. It started at 1, I left there at 2:30 to get here. And I presented to them what basically I'm telling you all right now. If there's anything we want to do, we provide a recommendation or a proposal to the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Commission. Right? They take this information and decide one way or the other. This is a public meeting. These meetings are announced on our website. They're generally announced on the TV and the radio, and the public is welcome to be there and to express your concerns, your dislike, or whatever at these meetings. That's how a decision or a law or any other thing, a hunt regulation, a fishing regulation, anything that we do, that's how it works. It may start, the information or the idea may start with a biologist or a technician, but it eventually works its way up to the commission for their final thumbs up or thumbs down. And those fellows are outdoorsmen, they're business folk, both ladies and gentlemen on the commission from across the state. They are representing a group of counties from where they're from. It's also 2 members are appointed by the leader of the House and the leader of the Senate, and 2 members are the commissioner of TDEC and the commissioner of agriculture. And then the rest are appointed by the governor from their 8 or 9 county area. So that's how something becomes law, regulation, rule, proclamation.
My name's Jerry Perkins. WeRock Off-Road Club. I want to know the rules. The law, can that all be changed? In other words, that's what we're here for. I'm an aggressive hill climber. I like playing rough, and gravel roads don't do me much good. Say anything in the future, seats that might change to more aggressive climbing.
with them tonight?
But we try to maintain those for use.
But my question still is, y'all, it says that y'all are allotted land for people like us, to drive big vehicles, when you're driving 400s and such, when you're looking for the gravel road.
I don't.
They said it's for the public. We are public.
That's right. But I don't remember the big vehicle part of it. We call that ATV use, you know. But in our view, and on the Royal Blue, that is that trail system. It is not extreme in any way. There is and I hope I'm not misquoting it, but there is a law that says that OHV money is available for entities to use to provide ATV use. But it doesn't say that we have to. And we don't really have the land, or we don't even have the money to do that.
What's wrong with this? I mean, it's land. Y'all have to deal with it forever. It's just been sitting there dormant. Since WeRock started, it's cleaned up. When they first started there was garbage everywhere. And trails were harder to travel. It makes Tennessee a bunch of money.
Let's let somebody.
If I could, there's a lot of people that are wanting to ask questions, and we're getting back to the same people. There's several other people that want to ask, I'm sure, different questions. We need to move it around, let other people get their questions asked.
We're going to have time for about 2 more questions from first timers, and I promised these people up front they'd have a chance to speak once more. And so we'll start here.
My name's David Bond, and I had a question, but after you said that, it made me think, isn't that our money that did buy that land?
By the 1,200 acres?
Right.
I don't know where Floyd
That's federal money.
federal money.
And if you go back and look at the original deal, that was a simple purchase. They bought that. They bought the land outright. There's several different ways you could do it, but that was a simple purchase.
To answer your question, every dime that your government spends is your money.
Yes, sir.
The federal government will give you a thing. Last time I checked, well, my fixed file income tax right now. So, same thing when you say, every dime that the government has is your money. You're correct.
And if you can't get up there to operate it as a WMA, how are you going to get up there to enforce it?
The best we can. The best we can.
Has there been any studies done on erosion?
Any what?
Any studies done on erosion?
Well,
Or did somebody just drive out there and look at the ruts and say, that's erosion, this is what's causing it?
Any studies on erosion from at the mountain?
Right, the effects that the
Well,
trucks
that
have.
probably a question for DDEC, because we know there's erosion because it's ending up into the river. Whether it's coming from our 1,200, or whether it's coming from the power line, or whether it's coming from wherever, there is erosion occurring. You probably don't need a study. You can look at it. But
to show that it's coming from the vehicle.
Pardon?
To show that it's coming from the vehicle, that's what's causing it.
To answer your question, there has been, that's a sediment that was washed off, I believe, Rick Ashton, has been traced right back to where it was vehicles to be running. So we have, Mr. Dick Herman went tonight, you see that, the environment.
Which property where the washout is, where the settlement is, that's about beside that, I can throw a rock with a washout, hit the road, and knock the guardrail over. I live on the back side of that, got property goes up. But that has nothing to do, that's the reason I said what I had to say. The erosion and what it was, has nothing to do with you managing the property that you've got. Your property is located in the middle of the mountain, okay? The SIP is on the other side of the mountain, on Highway 41, on Marion County side. So, that's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
You already got another first time question.
My name's Barry Schrader. Our main road that crosses y'all's property, it just crosses it right across one point. The main trail that we use. Now, I grant you there's other trails that they use,
sale.
Okay.
Do y'all sell or lease property?
Okay, I will. We're having a meeting, with Forest Legacy, I believe it's the 21st. It'll be in Nashville. It'll just be our agency and Forest Legacy to see where we are, what can be done, if anything, that kind of thing. I'll put it out there. I mean, what's the harm?
TWRA owns the property. The government ain't got anything to do with this. Can we buy the property from you? From TWRA, can we buy that property?
I can't answer you right now. I can't answer because it's not my decision. But I can take your proposal.
Thank you.
I will.
Please.
I will. Because that would help me. But we got into this originally from the very beginning of this meeting, that we were notified by TDEC that there is a problem. It was identified coming from our property. We have to do something about it. So if you buy that property, then TDEC will be talking to you guys.
We got it. Hold on a second. Wait a second. We got one more question back here. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Karen Gallagher, and I live in Whiteside. My house is about 1.5 miles from the WeRock property. I'm on the Highway 134 side, not the 41 side. My question to you is that if TDEC is the one that's informed you of what it is that you're supposed to be doing, are they the only people that have informed you? And if you don't have enough money to maintain what you've already got, how are you going to maintain this? And if you got private funding to do it, and if you did, where did it come from?
Yes, TDEC is the one that notified us. All right? And yes, we knew there was a problem. There was a lot of OHV use up there prior to TDEC. All right? Yeah, but we knew what was going on too. Yes, but that notified me because I get this information. But a lot of notifications come to our central office, and I get information back from them. So as far as I know, TDEC is the only one that notified us that there's a problem up there.
And did you get private funding to maintain? My question was, have you got private funding to maintain this like you say you're going to when, I'm use your words, we're already in the hole, we're already in the red on what you've already got? Where are you getting the money from?
It is not private money, it's TWRA money, and right now I have a budget of about $250,000.
Is that public disclosure?
Pardon?
Is your budget public disclosure?
Oh, yeah, sure.
And where it came from?
Where the money came from? Yeah, the money comes from, well, it comes from the hunting and fishing dollars, license sales. It comes from the Pittman-Robertson Act, which is from an excise tax on every gun, bullet, hunting equipment that y'all purchase. And there's a Dingell-Johnson Act, which is all the fishing side of it. But for every license, every quarter of a license that is sold, every 25 cents, we get a 75% match from the federal government. And that money is used for wildlife work, Pittman-Robertson, or fisheries work, Dingell-Johnson. So our agency is funded by license sales. We don't get any motel tax.
Okay, but I understand all that.
Okay.
But you're not answering my question.
I'm sorry.
My question is, if you're in the hole now where you say you are on what you've already got, where are you going to get the money to maintain this?
Okay.
And is any of that money coming from private donations? That's what I asked.
Okay, where there is no private donations to do the work on the roads. There's no, I don't know of any private donations for Cummins Cove WMA. Where we are in the hole, it's up there on Royal Blue WMA. There's a lot of permits sold for ATV use on Royal Blue, and they are not, just from the number of folks that buy the permit that ride out there, they do not pay for half the cost of the upkeep of that property. That money comes
Okay, we're running out of time, and I promised, Dr. Black, I promised you, I believe Mr. Blevins, I promised you up here to speak, and you get to speak last. Now you, heard what you want. Okay, Dr. Black.
I have a few points I want to make. On forest legacy, this is a quote, "The lands in interest are held in perpetuity. There is no loss of the federal investment resulting from change of ownership." And this goes back to the easement rights that come with the land. When the land in the subdivision was bought, part of the land was subject to Edna Mountain Road and subject to the easements. They only owned the land to the middle of Edna Mountain Road on one side and to the edge of Edna Mountain Road on the other. The state has an interest in that easement, and you know, when you use the word trespassing, blocking an easement is trespass.
Agreed.
Did any of them get a ticket on Wild Rose Lane where their houses are blocking what was the easement? And so this land in between that nobody owned, how on earth did they sell it, you know, and put houses on it when it wasn't, it belonged to the public. It didn't belong to them.
I can't answer that, I have no idea.
Okay, and then, I also mentioned that, you know, my land on the mountain, the reason I bought it was to help preserve the cave, which is Raccoon Mountain Caverns, and we have an endangered species that lives in the cave, and that's the only place on the planet it lives. I wonder if TDEC is looking into all the pesticides that'll come off 750 homes and go into the cave. You know, it's like, I think it's going to imperil the species.
If you'll bear with me, I'm going to read just a couple of excerpts from some news reports. This was from February 31st of 2003, when conservation leaders held preservation of 2,400 acres of Cummings Cove. And down here I've highlighted Representative Want said such preservation is important, not just for the next generation, but for succeeding generations. Then a fellow, Dale Bosworth, chief of the Forest Service, said 4,000 acres per day are being developed, including 2,000 acres of forested land. He said the resulting loss of open space is increasing fires, insect infestation, and advance of invasive plant species. And then down here at the bottom says, Mr. Front said, Cummings Cove is a perfect example of what the Forest Legacy Program is intended to do. If this area is not protected, development, not four-wheelers, development. Remember all the sea of pink ribbons? Would irreparably damage the views, wildlife, and other irreplaceable assets of the Tennessee River Gorge. We cannot let that happen. That's just from that one article. And then, this is from the Chattanooga.com, just 5 years later, Tuesday, May 13th, 2008, Mr. Stein, one of the developers of Cummings Cove, I'm sure you know him. Yeah. Mr. Stein said development likely will not be allowed at the edge of the bluffs, so that when you look up from the valley, you will see the greenery and the trees. And then Mr. Sutherland, that was one of the developers, said developers get bad names because they destroy the steep slopes and they have houses hanging over the edge. Chattanooga is fortunate that this property will be developed by Doug Stein and Gary Chazen, which I don't think he's involved anymore, or he may be, I don't know, because they will make this an asset to the community, not just something to make them money. And on the last part here, this was in 2011 from the Nugan.com. The original owners of Black Creek are developing 3,000 acres surrounding the golf course with a mix of commercial and residential properties. Dodge Street Community spokeswoman Rainbow Russell said the area is the last undeveloped mountain in Chattanooga. The mountaintop is the most attractive feature of the overall development. For years, a person will need to purchase and tear down a home to be able to build a brow lot. Do we know what a brow lot is? That's on the edge of the mountain, isn't it? okay? And with views of Chattanooga. So it went from, it's going to be for generations to come, nothing happened to it, to come and get these brow lots. And I've got a whole lot more of this stuff. You can go right now to the Facebook page, Black Creek Mountain, which they're changing the name of it, I guess, for some reason. Come get your brow lots. We've already sold some. Come get your views with pictures of all the, from Mount Denton all the way around. That's what this is about. It's to strangle off the road, the traffic coming up. They're going to use y'all's land, our land, TWRA land, to cut the mountain off where they can get that road declared abandoned, build a private road up there, do all their stuff, and then when they've done that, they strangle off all the property owners up there to where they, their land's worthless. Then they can get that from them. That's my opinion.
One last question. I need to know if, are you talking with Black Creek Farms on swapping some of your TWRA property around so they are able to build a paved road there for your access to the TWRA land, so therefore you can start doing the gravel roads?
They put that proposal toward us. Now, I don't know if we can because it's for trading forest places land. I have no idea. That's part of the meeting for the 21st. And in my mind, the reason is that so we can get good access to Cumberland Coast.
No. In the Forest Legacy Program, it is not able to be swapped, sold, or anything else with that property. But we'll be discussing that on the 21st when you meet with the Forest Legacy Program.
That's why we meet.
Let me thank all of you for being here this afternoon. And I commend you for the way that you have handled yourselves and the respect you've shown to those of our guests this afternoon. John, thank you for coming. Carter, Richard, Dick, you guys. Yeah, so thank you, Joe. We're in the state government, we hear what you're saying, and it is a concern to some of us. I work with Judge Matheny, representing Valley of Tullahoma, on the Royal Blue program because there was pushback in the legislature on building those trails in Royal Blue. Now you ask what you can do. I'm your representative, and I'll be storming every gas can. I understand what you're saying here tonight, and I know what you're saying, and it concerns me. These men can only do what they're told to do, and they have, the law is the law. The only way they can't go by it is for somebody to repeal it. You say that can't be done? Well, yes, it can. Yes. Because we did that today in the House. One bill today. We repealed the law. We went up there for about 3 straight terms and repealed a bunch of laws. We were probably all be our own. But I understand your concerns, and I'm available to you folks. Again, that's the reason I asked you to put your questions down right, because I can't remember all this stuff. And so if I remembered that, I wouldn't remember your name or have a contact number. So you have my number. You have my commitment. I'll listen to you. You call me. I think we'll meet with Dr. Perlacki. I promised to meet with him after this meeting this evening. If you have questions, I'll stay around here as long as you want to. But I certainly appreciate all of you being here and voicing your thoughts and sharing those with us. And John, I appreciate you coming, taking your time to come down here. We work for you guys. And the question this gentleman asked is a good question. Every dime of government money belongs to us. Every dime of it. And federal government doesn't give us a blooming thing. But I'll tell you something, Tennessee is a contributing state. We don't get back all we send to Washington. Like some states, they send $100 and get $108 back. We don't do that. Tennessee is blessed that we're a contributing state. But I appreciate your voicing, sharing your thoughts with us this evening. And thank all of you for being here. I know we can stay here all night, but we've got to get out of this building. Jim's going to start charging us rent. And I appreciate Jim sharing this with us. Again, feel free to contact me at any time, and we'll be out of session probably in 1st of May, and I'm only home from Thursday night until Monday morning. I'll be back in Nashville Monday morning on the session. But if you contact me, it may take a little while because when in session I'm tied up pretty much, but I will get back with you. I have gotten a few folks out of bed because of the time difference between Central Standard and Eastern Standard Time. But I'll be more than pleased to meet with you personally, the group, and I will voice your concerns in Nashville, and I will let you do that. And you got one last word. Say you have the last word. I've been married for 50 years, so I know. Okay. Very short.
Very short. I just want y'all to know in 16 days, the signatures on our petition for keeping Edna Mountain open, we've raised 8,939 signatures in 16 days.
All right, thank you, Christian.
One last question. What is the meeting on the 21st? What are the details of the meeting on the 21st? That's an in-house meeting between my boss, probably myself, and the Forest Legacy to discuss what we can and cannot do.
Is Black Creek gonna be there?
Yes, because they have an interest.
I figured.
Yeah. But Forest Legacy is going to tell us one way or the other.
Is Legacy Black Creek?
John, will that meeting be on your website?
No, because it's not a public meeting. It's just a working meeting. So.
Okay.
Is there a public meeting? Is there a public, what?
Well, the other meeting I was talking about is that, just for agency use, get with landowners, the Blackies and WeRock, and other landowners up there to see if there is any kind of common ground. And so that would be basically a closed meeting too, but with the landowners up there, just to talk things over.
Hopefully we'll be having more dialogue in the future, and you'll be notified. Thank you for doing it. With that, we're adjourned. Thank you for coming.